I have added a helicopter stop to the airport, but there's a problem with that. I've also increased the number of buses on each of the airport lines from 5 to 10. And that doesn't have a problem. That's okay. And then, based on all of your feedback, I've made some changes to the cable cars that I think looks a whole lot better. And today I want to talk about all of those things and probably a fair bit more, but I also want to start dealing with the traffic problems that we're having coming from the farms and coming from the airports. But before we start looking at traffic, let's talk about the problem that we're having with this helicopter stop. So this thing is crazy popular. That's basically the issue. There's 120 passengers serviced last week, which doesn't sound like all that much, but if we go into the lines overview, we have 2 of them with 3 stops. There's 2 in the city and 1 right here. There's 4 vehicles per line, 45 passengers and 50 passengers respectively. But if we have a little look, there's 412, 411 people waiting at this stop by the airport. There's 183 people waiting at this stop just down by, where is this? The emergency place and also nearby the high school campus. There's a lot of people wanting to use these helicopters, and it's a bit of a problem is what it is. So I'm going to just double the number of helicopters per line for now. We're going to go for 8 on the red line. And then if we go to the blue line as well, we're going to go up to 8 helicopters on that one. Now, I don't think that's going to be a good solution. I think there's probably a better way I can manage things, and we'll get around to that shortly. But let's just say it probably involves extending a little road out here and building a dedicated space for 2 helicopter stops, 1 for the blue line, 1 for the red line, and then hoping that that's going to bring all of our passengers from the airport down to the helicopters. Because to be quite honest with you, there's way less people using the cable cars now, because the helicopters are apparently a much more appealing option, despite the fact that you are going to be queuing for hours to get on board one. And this right here is kind of the other problem. The helicopters are going to be hovering, waiting to land. They're also horribly out of focus, and anytime I get close to them, they don't really go into focus because of the depth of field. But that's why having just the 1 stop here is a bit of an issue. There's a lot of helicopters just waiting to land. So I think at some point today, we're going to have to build that dedicated space, but we're not going to be doing it just yet because honestly, I kind of want to deal with some traffic problems. We have some tailbacks down here. We have traffic tailing back the entire way along this road. It is bad. And so what I'm going to do is get myself some asymmetrical 3-lane highway sections, and I'm going to change out this entire bridge to be asymmetrical. I want the 2 lines heading towards the city, and then up here, all of this road is going away right back to about there. And at the end of this guy, I want to build a roundabout because I've had this idea for a little while. I think I've talked about it in maybe an episode somewhere here and there, but we're gonna build a pretty long road that goes pretty far around the city. So we're gonna go 6 and 6 like this for the roundabout. We're gonna go, that's 5, that's 6 right there. That's about 6, that's 5, that's 6 again. And same with down here. So we're gonna have this little roundabout. Off of this side, we want to have a nice straight section, goes about 10 units there. We'll have about 10 units there as well. And I just need to connect these guys together. Can I get a nice looking curve here that's going to be good for this? We absolutely can, but I think what I'm going to do is make it slightly smaller just so it looks a little bit better. So I think that actually I might just bring these roads closer together again. So something like this, bring you up to about there. And I think that's going to look better for the curve. It absolutely does. It kind of matches what's going on down here. So traffic's going to have to go around the roundabout, which is going to slow it down. But the reason I wanted the asymmetrical road is because my thinking is I can get a little bit cheeky with how we do this. So this lower section here is going to have the 3 lanes, and then this top section is going to have 2. And that gives us a dedicated turning lane right here so that traffic in this leftmost asymmetrical road, or the leftmost asymmetrical lane, goes straight into the turning lane to go this way. The rest of it uses the other lane to go the entire way around. And then they have this as a dedicated turning lane out to the highway. Basically, a little bit of traffic control in Vanilla City Skylines. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be useful. And then this road right here, you might be thinking where it's going. You might be wondering where it's going. Well, basically, it's going over here, and it's going to go around this this cliff. And by around this cliff, well, I mean under this cliff. And so this is kind of where things are going to get interesting, because I've toyed around with a couple of ideas from what I want to do here. And part of me wants to bring a road that goes essentially all the way across here. It'll sort of, go around the curves, follow the water, and then take a very, very sharp turn from about here, going all the way up the cliff like that. and then it's going to go in a nice straight line here. It's then going to turn. And my thinking was it would basically follow this cliff the entire way around, and it's going to connect right about here. And the reason it's going to connect here is because that's going to give us access to this highway. And this on-ramp to the highway is really not all that busy. And I should have probably prefaced all of this by saying that the reason I'm connecting to the highway is because if we go in here and we have a little bit of a look at our traffic routes and we go to, well, this road here, and if we filter by essentially just trucks, a lot of those trucks want to go to the highway. A lot of them are just leaving the city. So if we can give them an alternate way to do that, that's going to completely avoid the heart of the city, that seems like it would be a good idea. Now, admittedly, connecting them here is not a permanent solution. It's not going to fix everything. It's still going to make this area quite congested. It's going to be a lot of traffic, but it's going to be better than pushing them through here because there's way less traffic at this end of the city when compared to all of this. So that's why I want to do this. That's why I'm thinking we're going to do another road that goes along the cliff, kind of similar to what we did over here. And I want to talk about this space at some point today, just by the way. There was a lot of amazing feedback with regards to this road, and it seems like a lot of you really kind of like how it turned out. And there was some amazing suggestions for things we could do here, like doing some kind of park, doing some kind of national park. I love all of it. And if we don't do that today, we might do it in the next episode. Anyway, here's what I'm thinking. I think we bring a section of road right about here. And I think we go and get ourselves a little bit of a right angle on this. So 6 units that way, 6 units that way, or sorry, a 45-degree angle, not a right angle. So a 45-degree angle there. We'll go ahead and change this out. And I want to get a little bit of a curve on that just so it looks a little bit nicer. So we'll have a road go here. We'll have a road go here. Take out those guys. And that should give us a nice little 45-degree curve around there. I'm probably going to change those trees out at some point, and this is just going to connect to a highway anyway, so it's not really too important that it's perfect, but it'll do. And this is essentially where I want the slope to begin. And my thinking on this is that it's basically going to slope from here all the way around these cliffs, and it's going to go to here. I don't know if I want to bring the road up the beach on this side, or if I want to sort of bring it around this cliff and bring it over. I feel like bringing it over is going to look terrible, though. Because I feel, well, I suppose it depends what I build down here. This would be a great spot for some hotels and things like that. So giving it an access road to the highway might be good for tourism later on. I guess we can change it if I don't like it. So let's start with this bit because I know what this bit's going to look like. I just don't know how I'm going to connect to it. All right, I'm actually kind of pleased with how this has turned out. I think the slope looks really good. It's really nice and gradual down there. Obviously, we have some pretty steep cliffs that we're going to have to deal with, but this will probably end up looking similar to the other road on the other side of the city. We'll do some trees in here. We'll do some detailing. We'll get some fences for safety and stuff like that. But now I just need to figure out where I'm connecting it to. I still haven't really made up my mind, but I think the best way to do it that's going to be the least intrusive on this beach and it's going to look probably better is I think to bring the road down this way. Now this is going to start carving out the terrain a little bit, but this slope here, for example, if I just do a straight shot down to, you know, there, it does this. It doesn't look great, but that's probably going to be better than doing something like this, which carves up the entire beach like that. So I think we'll go down towards the water. We can hit this with some smoothing brushes. In fact, I wonder if it would be an idea to maybe just smooth this out a little bit here, grab the slope terrain tool, and then start sort of down. Ooh, the game's having trouble. It was auto-saving, that's why. Start sort of down here with a bit of a bigger brush and basically just slope the terrain up in that direction. Now that is going to, it's going to do this, which I don't love. but I think I can work with that. I think what we can do is probably blend this in a little bit better than anything else. I could probably have this sort of swoop back and forth a little bit as well. We could do like sort of a switchback type thing where it's a bunch of S-bends going up and down the beach, but I think I'm just going to do it this way. It's a little bit more straightforward. I'm really not wanting to have this just be a super, design focused episode. I want this to have function, right? I've said it before. This kind of needs to be function over the form here. And that is probably as good as it's going to get. So what we'll do, I'm actually going to need to just slightly change the way this slope works. It needs to go more like here. But I think this will kind of just be the best way to do it, right? So bring this straight down to wherever it needs to go. So to about there. That looks all right. I don't mind it. Again, I can sort of smooth a lot of this out and make it look a little bit more natural. And then for this road over here, what I think I'll do is just start, bringing it around some rocks. Well, I think this rock could probably be gotten rid of. We'll just bring it in a bit of a straight line for now. We'll bring it a little bit closer to the water. And this is where I think we'll start to curve it sort of around the coastline. And annoyingly, I'm going to have to get rid of some of these rocks. But what I want to do is come back in here at some point and replace those. So it almost looks like this road is, going around a bunch of rocks rather than just getting rid of them. I also kind of wonder if I could get a curve that looks decent here so that these roads can sort of connect together in a just some kind of nice big curve. So something maybe like this for now. Something maybe a little bit like this for now. And then can I use my road guidelines to give these guys something that's going to look really satisfying? That's probably fine. I'm kind of okay with that. And I think if we go into here and we grab ourselves some nice big rocks, I think it'll sort of look the part. So if I was to do, I wish I could get these closer. If I was to maybe do something like this for that spot, maybe something like this, just sort of back there. Is there anything that's a bit smaller that I can push closer to the road? Because that would be really nice here. I think it would look really good if we had, I mean, that's a decent start. We have some big rocks here I can play with. So we'll maybe make our own little formation that looks like something they might have wanted to go around. I don't know if there's any, I don't know why they would go around these rocks specifically, but we'll do it at least. We'll do it this way. It's a little bit of design. It's a little something to make the space look, like there's a bit of life down here. And I just think it'd be cool. I think this would be a really cool road to be on, right? Going between all these giant boulders. I've no idea why these boulders would even be here, but it's fine. We'll do one back there as well. This is maybe a little bit too much. This is definitely a little bit too much. I've gone a little bit overboard with these, but you know what? We'll do one more. We've got this one. We'll put it right there. And you know what? We'll take out that one. We'll take out that one. We'll take out that one and maybe replace them with, I wish I had anarchy or anything that would let me have this overhang the road. That would look so cool, but I'm all right with that. I think that's fine. It's even tempting to have like, oh, it's so tempting to do this. Is that too much? That's too much. That is way too much. Let's just do, let's just do some little rocks down here. So we have a little bit of detailing, but nothing crazy. So that right about there, that right about there. And I've just realized this road is functional. While I'm messing around with rocks, this road is actually working. We have people coming down here, which means we might start to see some industrial traffic head that way. It's probably going to take them a little while to update their pathfinding, but we should see people using this leftmost lane, and that is now a way in and out of the city. Look at me leaving the game unpaused while I'm doing stuff. You know what? It took nearly 9 years, but I'm finally learning how to play City Skylines. And there we go. We have traffic finally starting to use this new road. We have buses using this road to get in here. This is exactly what we want. Now, this thing is absolutely going to be swarmed with vehicles. There's going to be a lot of people coming and going, but I'm really excited to see how this goes. I think the city by the university is going to be pretty busy as well, but we'll see how it goes. This is progress. This is good. This is just step one, though, because step 2 is going to involve taking out this road completely. So this guy needs to just be removed, and that's going to let me use this entire block in a bit of a different way, which is something I'm kind of excited about. But I'm going to bring this right back down here. I'm going to bring it all the way down to, honestly, I'm going to say there. So the entire way back. And what I want to do is I want to just continue this road sort of across. So I got rid of it just to rebuild it, I know. But I'm going to bring it slightly further up the beach. And then I'm going to continue it in a bit of a nice straight line. It might actually be a good idea to have it be parallel to that road, but that might look a little bit too, that might be a little bit too much. But what I want to do is I want to build a roundabout. So we're going to do a 5x5 on this one just because it's a little bit easier to measure and I'm a little bit lazy. So we've got a 5x5 there. That's 5x5 there and 5x5 there. And I want to figure out a way to do this slightly differently. So I'm going to go 5 units here. I'm going to go 5 units here, and then it should be 10, 10. It absolutely is. I want to do a 45-degree connection here. And that's probably as good as it's going to get. So what I'm going to have to do is sort of mark this out. How is this going to work? What is the best way to do it? Is that the better way to do it? No, we'll just do it from here. We'll kind of get the 45 roughly there. And I want to take this out completely. So we have that going on. And I want a 45-degree at this end as well. So if I do 5 and I do 5, it should be 10 to there. That's roughly a 45. So take out those guys. And so the reason I want to do this is that I want to keep this connection that does go up to the city. I'm going to do it slightly differently. But I want another connection that comes down this way. And I think what we can do is probably chop these roads roughly in half. So there and there. So they don't quite stick out as far. They are a little bit close together, but I think we can get away with this. And I think what we'll also do is a little bit of a 45 just here. So that road should now be running in a straight line alongside this one. In theory, this one's actually, that's going to be a curve. You know what? We'll freeform this. Regardless, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. My point is we're going to have a road that does this. And we're going to have a road that goes a little bit more this way. We can smooth all this out, make it look interesting. But my thinking is this one is going to follow the cliff. This one is going to follow the coastline. And it's going to go up this little hill right here. And it's going to go into a tunnel. And I wanted to go into a tunnel that runs underneath this industrial area, comes out on this side, and connects up to here. This road, by the way, I changed it between episodes. It's now doing all of this. But this is where I'm going to connect it because it is now going to be a way for traffic to sort of go straight from one side to the other. I mean, admittedly, these guys have this road here already, but it's an option is what I'm thinking. Any of this traffic, well, yeah, we're doing this. We're committing to this. It's a silly idea. I don't think it's necessary, but we're going to commit to it. And I'm also looking at this roundabout and realizing that the easiest thing to do would have been to bring this road down and up and then just continue this one straight through. So we're also going to do that. This is silly. So for the connection up here, what we'll do is 10 units this way, and then I want to get some kind of slope that gradually goes down here. It's a whole lot of terraforming we've been doing lately. It doesn't feel right, but it feels necessary. So we'll just get some kind of slope that goes down like this. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. I don't mind the road kind of weaving back and forth, but ideally we'd have something that's going to look decent. I don't really want, you know, rocks and cliff edges underneath all of my roads. So we'll do this, and then I'm wondering, can I bring you up here like that? Can I get these guys to curve across to each other? That would be kind of ideal if I could get just a really, really nice curve going on, and I think I can do it. I think if I bring you back a little bit, I might be able to get a little something, something. It looks like I sort of can. I'm not 100% sure. That looks like it's in line. That's maybe a little bit too far. What about this? That looks pretty good. I'm actually kind of okay with that. So we'll go ahead and swap that out to be an entire straight section of highway. And then the reason I wanted this bit flat at the end is because I want the asymmetrical road for 2 lanes kind of going either way, which gives us, interestingly, I might want to change this up a little bit. This is also a regular road now, just to slow traffic down a little bit. I think the highway that we had here previously was a little too fast for people. So we'll swap this out. We'll have a dedicated left turn lane. We'll swap this out for a dedicated right turn lane. And I think that's probably good enough. It gives us dedicated lanes in all directions. I don't think this road's going to be too popular. But what it is going to do is give this traffic somewhere to go, because right now it doesn't have anywhere to go. So what I can do is go back in here with my highway. I can grab my 2-way highway and upgrade all of you. I can upgrade all of you as well, all the way up to the tunnel. And then for the roundabout, I don't think I'm going to do the same thing with the 3 lanes in one direction, 2 lanes in the other. I don't think there's any point in doing that. At least not that I can think of. I don't think there's any way I could reasonably, well, I suppose this would have 2 lanes. Would that look all right if I did 2 lanes at the top there? I know it's a little silly to do it, but it does give us that dedicated left turn lane there. It might even be that guy that needs the 2 lanes. So, I don't know about this. I don't know if that's the way we should do things or not. Maybe we'll just do 2 lanes kind of the entire way around. I don't know. We'll leave it like that for now. I really don't know. I might be getting a little bit carried away with this. We'll upgrade this guy as well, and we'll figure out how this is going to connect to the city a little bit later on. Because what I want to do for now is sort of change the layout in here a little bit. So we're going to hit this with some terraforming. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to try and smooth a whole lot of this space, this space out. So this road here, I am just going to get rid of for now. And I'm going to just try to, I guess, just flatten a lot of this terrain for now. Maybe hit it with a bit of a flatten and brush up here as well. And I want to try and just bring this road straight across. I want to bring an avenue down here as well. I'm going to have to take these guys out to actually connect this through, which I'm totally okay with doing. And the benefit of all of this is it's going to give me a space that's a little bit easier to build in. And that's kind of important because this area was kind of messy. So we'll do 20 units here and we'll see what we can do. We might actually need to, smooth this. This is all a little bit too high up there and a little bit too crazy. So we'll hit this with a smoothing brush just so it's a little bit nicer and a little bit neater to work with, which that looks about right there. So we'll go back in, grab our road. We'll go 20 units here. It's still sloping up, but I'm kind of okay with that. I'm not a huge fan of that actually. Let's change this out. We'll use the slopes tool and get something that goes a bit like this. And hopefully that's going to be a little bit more level, a little bit more even. So hit this with a nice slope just like that. And I think that's probably what we're looking for. So now we'll bring this over 20 units. It slopes in the middle. You know what? Forget it. We're just going to do this anyway. And can I by chance get this to line up with that road? I think I totally can. So there, and nope, it's distance too short, slope too steep. And there we go. That looks a whole lot better. And what I've also done is extend the pedestrian zone into this part of Belmont Square. So what we'll do is grab ourselves some pedestrian roads and see if I can get a little something through here that's going to look kind of interesting. Can I also get this to line up? Oh, there's so many road guidelines competing for attention there. We'll just do this straight through that space. This guy, I don't really know. Maybe we just leave that as a bit of an open space and we'll use the rest of this for zoning. So we don't actually have much demand for commercial zoning right now. So I think what I'll do is make sure that we have a specialization for wall-to-wall office buildings. And then we'll hit this guy with some offices just down here to get rid of some of that industrial demand that we have. We'll do the same thing here because we are getting close to industry anyway. And we'll do sort of the same thing here. The rest of this, honestly, I'll do a little bit of commercial there, even though I don't think it'll build. And the rest of this can just be residential because we do have some pretty chunky residential demand. So filling in all of this is going to help us out quite nicely. Filling in all of this is going to help us out quite nicely. And hopefully this isn't going to be too close to that industry. And then we have all this lovely green space to play with. So what I'll do before I even let this build is I'm going to come in here. We're going to do a path here. We're going to have this guy sort of go around like this. I can't do that though. So what I'll do instead is chop you out. We'll go to this spot. We'll go straight through. We can have a line of trees right about there. And I think that'll look pretty cool. And I'm wondering, can I bring this straight through? I pretty much can. It's not a perfectly straight path, but it'll do the job. It gives us a connection through. It gives us some space for trees here. Gives us all this space in the middle to play with. I will loop that around just because I can. And that seems fine. I'm also wondering, would that be an idea? I don't hate it. I don't really hate the idea of doing that at all. So I don't know, maybe that is something we do. Maybe I turn off all of my guidelines and do the same thing down here. So turn off road lengths and all that stuff. Get nice and close to the zoning. And I guess it's not really going to work too nicely if it's not snapped to the grid. So you know what? We'll just leave it like that down here. We'll have the 2 connections up here just because we can. And that seems fine. As for this space, we'll turn on grids and road lengths. We'll do a section right here. And you know what? We'll do one here as well. And I think that's okay. So that gives us a nice little triangle for some zoning, or not zoning, for some greenery, some trees, some park stuff. in there as well. Although I'm realizing that these paths actually conform to terrain, so I'm going to swap them out for whatever these guys are, the park paths, and they don't conform to the terrain, so they will look a little bit better in here. And then what I can do is, now that these guys are built, I mean, you know what trees are going in here already. You know it's going to be these generic pine trees. So we want to go to about here, and then we'll just sort of dot a few of them like this. Where else have we got to play with? I need to keep going back and forth with my zoning. So we'll go for, I guess, right about there. We'll do another one there. And then we have this triangle over here, which I think what I'm going to do with that is a nice big oak tree. And then we have this space in here where I'm thinking we can line the street with some of the generic pine trees, because I absolutely adore these things. I think they look absolutely fantastic, as you very well know. And then what we'll do is maybe one of these guys, maybe a big pine tree, not a pine tree, an oak tree, sort of right up there between the paths. We can do a little bit of, some shrubbery kind of in here in the middle, a little bit like that. We'll get some color in here, of course, and we'll get some variation in the shrubs as well. Just go for a few of these guys kind of dotted around, something a bit like that. I'm leaving this space in the middle open on purpose, though. We'll get a little bit of pink right there, a little bit of pink right there, and a little bit of pink right there as well. And then what I want to do is throw one of these guys right in the middle. And I think that looks fine. Just a little bit of color, nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. It just looks right. And then for this triangle here, maybe a nice big oak tree just to fill up that space. And I'm all right with that. I think that's probably fine. Can I get one of the larger oak trees in here? That's a pretty decently sized one. We'll go for that right in the middle. And then around it, I think we'll do sort of a similar thing. We'll just do some bushes and some greenery just to make it feel a little bit more alive and a little bit more detailed. And there we go. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So we'll let this space build. It'll be a nice little boost to the population. This I kind of want to smooth out as well. So we're going to hit that. I don't want to search. We're going to hit that with a... Ooh, what are we going to hit that with? Let's try to level this out for now. This is going to get rid of the, it is going to sort of get rid of the need for that bridge, which is a little bit unfortunate, actually. I kind of like that bridge being there. So let's see what a nice big, ooh, that is not what I wanted. Let's see what a nice big smoothing brush is going to do. I know I've said it before. I know I'm repeating myself, but I really dislike how slow the smoothing brush is in Vanilla City Skylines. It is nothing compared to the modded one. I say the modded one. I think the modded smooth terrain tool is actually just pulled from the map editor. So I think the function to have this thing be faster is just in the game already. It's just that when you're playing with them, in a city, it is much, much slower. So we'll do it this way for now. I don't think I'm going to try and fill this space up today, but I do want to bring this road back up here. And also, there is way less traffic on that road. Good Lord. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. That's a lot of traffic trying to come through here is what that is. Oh boy. All right. Well, fair enough. That's, that's the way that is. I had a feeling this would tail back, to be quite honest. So this is kind of to be expected. Regardless, I do want this to connect up here still. I do want that to be a thing. I just don't know where. That's kind of my thing with it, because pushing it straight through the city seems like a terrible idea. I also forgot to do some pipes down here, so let's very quickly fix that just like so. Yeah, pushing this thing straight through the city seems like a terrible idea. Sending industrial traffic right into the heart of what is essentially a pretty big, I mean, this is a mix of commercial and residential and some offices, but it's largely a residential space. Like the majority of the zoning down here is residential. There's a good chunk of commercial up this way, but a lot of this is just residential. So I don't know. I don't feel like sending industrial traffic right into the heart of a residential space makes sense. I just don't know where else I'd connect it. Because here's the thing. This road right now is going to be making traffic at this end of the city a bit worse, and it absolutely is doing that, which is kind of what I expected it to do. And that's okay. I was waiting on this happening, and that's all right. That's just how it is. But the idea of all of this is that, well, yeah, I knew this was going to happen as well. Oh man, that is kind of rough. That's traffic all backing up down that way as well, getting ready to go around, get onto the highway. Man, we might need another highway connection here. I knew this was going to happen. I 100% knew this was going to happen. So let me change this out for an asymmetrical road. It's going to be the asymmetrical highway, 2 lanes going in, 1 lane going out. So something a bit like that. And that'll mean we have a right turn lane. We have, oh, please tell me they're not going to use that lane to go straight on as well. They do have the option, but I'm hoping that they're all going to use, you know, the leftmost lane for going straight on. I did just see that tractor. Oh man, we'll see what happens. Either way, I'm going to turn the traffic lights off here for now, because I think I can get away with that. I'm also going to do stop signs for everything coming to this corner. We could probably do the same here and let that traffic kind of go around. And that's going to just let it move a little bit more freely. And that means that all of it can get to the highway that little bit quicker, which is what we're looking for. I do think having maybe a dedicated on-ramp for the highway here would be a good idea. I know it's going to be a little bit irregular, but I think it's going to be worth doing. I absolutely do think it's going to be worth doing. I just don't know where to connect it to, because I could connect it all the way down here and have them completely skip this road, which in a sense would probably make sense so that we don't have all this industrial traffic going through there. But also looking at this, now that I've gotten rid of the traffic lights, it seems to be filtering through pretty quickly. So, ooh, wait a minute. There's a whole lot more traffic arrive. Why does it arrive in waves? What is that about? Like, look at this. There's another wave of it right here. That's really odd. That is really, really odd. I guess, yeah, this area is going to be crazy busy. We'll figure it out shortly. I do want to mention, actually, I realize I'm all over the place today. I'm sorry. I may or may not have had a little energy drink before sitting down to record this video. I realized that we have all of these abandoned buildings everywhere. That is all because of, if I can find one of them, that is all because there's not enough goods to sell. Now, part of that, I suspect, is because traffic has been really bad coming out of the industrial zones. So hopefully this is going to help that. And part of that is that there is industrial demand. I am going to deal with that. I'm just not dealing with it today because my priority today is just trying to figure out this traffic thing. I also don't love how this road comes down here and looks anymore. Just zooming out and looking at it, it looks really, really silly. It probably would have made more sense to sort of cut across the top of the beach and come down around the mountains. So we might have to change that in a second, but we'll come back to that. It's this straight section just looks dumb. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do down here is bring a road 10 units that way. I want to get a little 5x5 curve right here. And this is where I think I'm going to connect this road to. Now, I'm slightly tempted to flatten this out just so it looks a little bit more level. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll bring this right back to here. I know it's going to mess with the terrain here, but I'm kind of okay with that for now. So we'll flatten this out really, really nicely. We'll get ourselves a little dirt road because I'm using these to plan things. So 10 units to there. We'll do 5 and 5. And we'll do a little stretch, I guess, right about there. So another 5 like that. So that's nice and level. And then all I need to do is slope the terrain really nicely from here the entire way down to there. So let's do that. I don't have faith that this is going to look good, but I'm going to do it anyway. And so after a whole lot more back and forth than there needed to be, this road is done. It sort of loops up and around. It comes down the hill. It goes to the roundabout, and hopefully it will be something that people want to actually use. I guess we'll find out one way or another. I'm also kind of thinking we could do a little bit of asymmetry here. So we could probably have 3 lanes going this way. So we have 1 left, 1 straight, 1 right. We probably don't need 2 lanes coming down here, but I'm not really too worried about that. And then right about here, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea for a bit of asymmetry either, but we'll sort of hold off for now and just see how much traffic wants to use this thing. Because I think what we'll do is have asymmetry kind of coming around here at the very least. So traffic has a few different options. I also kind of like this idea where the asymmetry starts underneath the bridge, so you don't really see it from above. And again, that's going to give them options for left, for right, for straight on, and hopefully that will work out. We do already have traffic using it, which is good. We have this just ridiculously busy as ever, but hopefully traffic's going to start filtering through because now they have the multiple options of going to the right or to the left. So here's hoping for this to work. Here's hoping for traffic to not get too crazy. At the very least, we're not pumping a bunch of industrial traffic straight into a neighborhood. I mean, they still have the option, right? They can still come here and go into the industrial area, cut through, go this way, cut through. But this just gives them more options rather than going straight into that neighborhood. It also gives me some space to actually build more stuff in here, which is kind of what I wanted. And then circling back to this coastal road, I think what I'm going to do, instead of bringing it the entire way up the beach, because that's, I am committed to the idea that I think that will look a little bit silly. I'm going to bring it back to about there, and I'm going to bring this one back to about there. In fact, I'll go a little bit further, and I'm just going to curve it sort of around these rocks that are already here. So we'll do 20 units that way. We'll do 20 units about there, and that's what we're going to connect together. I think that'll be kind of a nice compromise. I think that's going to look just a little bit better. I think that does look a lot better, actually. And then if I just hit that with a smoothing brush, I mean, I can let the game run again. We'll hit it with a nice smoothing brush just to get rid of some of those little dips in the sand that we can see. And I think that's just better. It's probably a bit of a shorter road now as well, so it might be a little bit more appealing to any Sims that were kind of on the fence about using it. And just to draw attention to this roundabout is no longer crazy busy. I mean, it is crazy busy, but the traffic's not backing up towards the farms anymore because it's now using both of these lanes and it's being split between left and right. So this is working exactly as intended. We have some traffic coming down here, which is good. We have some traffic coming down here, some traffic going up there, and it's not really backing up too much. So giving them more options seems to have been the solution to all of the problems that we were having. I mean, don't get me wrong, this area is still crazy busy up here with traffic, and I still want to connect out to the highway. We still have a lot of traffic coming in here, and this road is still backed up like crazy, but it's moving a little bit better, and that's what I was looking for. So now, let's go ahead and make this road look good, because right now it's a little bit barren, and I would prefer that it wasn't. And there we go. We've got another little coastal road. It's going along the cliffs. It's got all sorts of trees, bit of color, bit of detailing, some rocks. And most importantly, it is dealing with a lot of the traffic that was having a lot of problems getting into the city. This is good. This is progress, and I'm really happy about it. Now, admittedly, I've not done detailing the entire way along this road. It's mostly this section underneath the university and this little bit down here. I did add some trees around this end of things, but I'm not going to bother detailing the beach because eventually we're probably going to build stuff down there and I'll just get rid of it anyway. So it's just this little bit that's been detailed. I think it looks pretty solid. And honestly, we could probably do a little something at the top of these cliffs as well. Maybe some fences would be a bit of an idea. In fact, I think that's exactly what we're going to do. We actually have a fence here already. So let's go ahead and just bring this this forestry fence right across here. We'll go to, I want to say that's roughly where that curve starts. And we'll see if we can't maybe get ourselves a little bit of a something that follows that curve really nicely. A bit like, I'm going to say a bit like that is probably fine. We'll continue this straight across to about there. And I do want it to come out around, but I think what I might do is actually use a different type of fence for that. I have been using the nature reserve fence for the road down there, but I think the farm industry fence would look a little bit better for here. So we'll go to about here. And what I'm going to do is just try and outline this, just outline the straight sections of it first. So outline there. We'll go for about here as well. So down to about that spot. It does get rid of some of the trees, unfortunately, but I'm not too worried about that. And then I think what we can actually do is continue this guy straight over to there. And I'm going to just try and freeform it sort of around the edges of this this grassy area. So I think that should be fine to about that spot for now. And then we'll figure out what this is going to be. This might actually end up being an extension of the university. We do need more campus attractiveness to level this thing up. So this is actually going to work really nicely for us in the long term. We'll just go ahead and get all of these fences connected together as best we possibly can. So right about there, that's a little far out though. It's actually just about okay. All right, I'm all right with that. Let's go ahead and replace the trees that we accidentally got rid of. So we'll get a nice big oak tree right about there. We'll get ourselves something a bit more colorful right about there, and we'll sort of double it up a little bit. And we'll go for something nice and colorful right about there as well. And that looks fine. That kind of nicely, you know, shelters the thing, makes it look a little bit safer. Maybe another nice big oak tree there, another one right about there, and maybe a couple right about here. And perhaps just a little bit of detailing atop the atop. Look at me using words like atop atop the cliffs right there, we'll perhaps do some detailing. And there we go. I don't know how I feel about the palm trees being right next to the pine trees and the oak trees, but it kind of ties it together, and so I'm kind of okay with it for the time being. So at this point, the video is going on for a little bit. I don't want this thing to be crazy long. I don't want to try and cram everything into a single episode. So I'm faced with a choice. Either we can go ahead and build a little bit of a heliport right about here, or we can head over to this spot and we can talk a little bit about what I want to do right here. And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to talk about this spot because no one uses this road right now. And there were some amazing suggestions for how to fix that and get people using it. And so that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to take out some of the detailing that I did here. And now, when I was building this road, I actually had a bit of an idea for what I could do. I don't know why I didn't do it in the first place, but I was thinking of doing the observatory. I thought it would look really cool here if it was facing the other way. But then in the comments of the last episode, a few people did mention that I could, if I wanted to, do a nature reserve out here. And I kind of love that idea. I really do. I think a nature reserve out here would be fantastic. Now, it is going to sort of mess with the terrain just a little bit. I mean, this thing is, actually, that's not too bad. The concrete underneath it looks a bit silly, but we can hide some crimes as we always do. And I'm just going to take out a bunch of these trees here. And what I think I'll do is, oh, I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to connect these fences up properly, but we will certainly give it a shot. Does it use the farm fence? No, it uses, there's a nature reserve. Yeah, there's a nature reserve fence. I've been using it this entire time. Interesting that it's, yeah, interesting that the fence around the gate is different to the fence for the actual area, but fair enough. We'll not worry too much about it. And honestly, I'm not too worried about having the fences here be perfect anyway. I just really need it to run to about there. That's a farm industry fence. I kind of want the nature reserve one because I just think it looks better. And I want to do exactly the same thing here. I just want it to sort of run to, I'm going to say about there. Because this isn't really going to be a huge nature reserve. I'm mostly going to try and confine it to this little space. I could bring it down here as well, but I just want something here that's going to attract people to the area. That's really what I'm looking for. So we'll extend this along the road just a little bit. We'll extend it out to there and we'll just sort of bring it down. And we're going to need a name for this. So leave some suggestions in the comments below and we'll get back to it in the next episode and figure out what exactly it's going to be called. I know I've talked about naming districts for almost 20 videos now, but this one definitely needs a name because this idea wasn't even mine. This was all you. This was all the comments of the last episode was like, do a nature reserve. So this one I can't take any credit for. Now, what I think I will do, in the spirit of keeping this simple, is I'm going to use the path of decorations just because I do like the lights on it. And I'm going to bring it down to about there. And this is kind of going to mess with the terrain in a way that I don't love, but I think we can make it work. I think I'm sort of okay with that. We'll extend this straight out to here. And that looks okay. That looks okay. There are these things, there's these viewing decks. If I could get a viewing deck at the end of that road, that would be kind of amazing. So that's going to be my goal. I'm also going to do a little path that goes there and a little path that goes there. And I don't love how this looks. I don't love what it's doing to my terrain, but it does give us space for some tents. So let's do a nice big tent there. We'll do sort of a more medium-sized tent right about there. I don't think this is going to be the ideal spot for camping, right? It's right next to a road. I don't think it's going to be, I don't think people are necessarily going to love it, but I'm sure they'll manage. I think we can also do like a little campfire thing here. I think that'll look kind of nice. Maybe a little campfire thing on this side as well, sort of facing the path. Something a bit like that. And I might actually do another one on this side, just so we kind of have the matching fires on either side. It's maybe a little bit extra, but we're going to go for it just to have the matching fires there. So it looks interesting. And then honestly, this one, I'm almost tempted to say that for now, while we don't have a viewing platform, we can put it at the end of that road. And I think that might look really cool. If I can get away with it, that is. Has to be placed inside of a park area, of course. So we'll extend the park area down to here. And then what we do is we want to grab this guy, move him, and it just needs to be right at the end of that road, right about there. And I think that looks kind of cool. I think that would be a really cool spot. to just sit and like have a conversation, relax, do whatever you want to do. I like that a lot. Now, I do have some crimes that I need to hide here, and I'm hoping, is this detailed enough? It does have the entertainment value. It just needs tourists. It needs visitors so it can level up. So here's what we'll do. Let's hide some crimes. We'll get rid of some of these rocks that are visible right there. And by that, I mean the rock texture. We'll do maybe a little rock right here as well. We'll do maybe a little rock here. And I think some of this space in general could use a little bit more detailing just to sell the idea that it's not just as ridiculous as it looks. And there it is. We actually have someone here already. It looks to be an old man walking his dog, but we've got more people turning up. We've got people actually using this road. And so eventually we'll be able to get a viewing platform down there. And that means that eventually this might really be one of the best views in the city. Even though really it's kind of just a view over the river. You'll see a whole bunch of traffic in the distance. You can see the city, admittedly, but I think this is still a fantastic view. And most importantly, it is bringing traffic down here. So this road is getting used, which is exactly what I wanted. I am so pleased to see people actually using this road. This was such a good idea. There was a couple of people that mentioned in the comments that we should do a little nature reserve down here. This absolutely is a fantastic idea. I might change up the way the paths are laid out. I don't mind this one, but this one for whatever reason just sticks out like a sore thumb to me. It might need a little bit more detailing to kind of hide it a little bit. Maybe a tree right there would do it. Maybe a nice big tree right here as well. Maybe that's all I need to do is just hide the fact that that path exists. So a little bit of that. That's maybe a little bit overcrowded in terms of trees, but I'm going to live with it because it hides the fact that that path exists. And good Lord, there's actually a lot of people coming down here. That's kind of fantastic. This thing has 29 visitors. I wonder if we should do a bus. Would a bus be too much? I think a bus might be too much, but here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to do it anyway, because what I can do, this might be a terrible idea, but I'm going to give it a shot. We're going to have a bus that comes out of here. I don't know how many of these platforms are actually used. I think all of these bottom ones are used. These top ones aren't though. So let's go from there and let's have this bus run all the way out to here. This really might be a terrible idea. We'll have it stop on this side though, where, you know, there's less traffic coming from that direction. And we're going to have it go all the way back. So it's going to, man, I don't know how well that's going to work, but we're going to try that. And let me see. Is it using, it's going through there. It comes down this way. That's fine. That's what I wanted. So let me find that bus line. It's bus line 33. I'm going to swap out the bus for, I think the minibus is kind of the way to go on this. And I'm going to make it, I'm going to say like a green color for nature. Right, green for nature. That's the height of my creativity. We'll do green for nature, and we'll see if people want to use it. I'm kind of hoping they do. I'm also wondering where my nearest bus depot is. There's one right here. Is it this one spewing out the minibuses? Is that a minibus right there? That is a minibus right there. Okay, that is the line? Is that the color of it on top? I guess. I think it is. Can I make that like a brighter green? I totally can. Let's just go with that. I think let's go with like that as our shade of green. That'll be fine. So yeah, we've got the minibuses. They can go and do their thing. Hopefully that's going to take tourists down to Valley Marsh, which is an interesting name. And I guess in a roundabout way, that might bring more people into the metro transport hub that we have right in the middle of the city as well. It also means that people can theoretically hop on a bus here, get a bus to the center of the city, hop on a bus there and get out to the nature reserve. So we'll see what happens. And good Lord, there is a lot of traffic trying to get through here. There's just so much. There's just so much traffic. It's kind of wild how much traffic is in this area. I love it though, because I feel like, I mean, most of it's made up of post vehicles and buses, but I feel like it kind of should be busy. Like it's an airport, you know? It should be. I just don't love the pattern of helicopters overhead. We really need to do something about that, but we'll do that. We'll do that in the next episode. Because as the minibuses start to gather, I think we can go ahead and leave it there for today. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.